scrolled away. So,
Well, but I did it first, though.
I'm just looking at the chat.
I'm all the way at the top.
Aren't we watching present? First thing I see at 2:03 is Owen with "Aren't we watching presentations today?" I think PT was Thursday. Lol.
Oh man.
And then Raul says terrifying, and then Aiden says don't forget to record.
Dang it.
So he beat you.
All right.
Sorry.
Look in Discord.
It's all good.
I just screen capped like what I see though, because
we're pew pew. We're in Discord. I'm in general.
in general.
Oh yeah.
You gotta advocate for Nick.
Oh, recording also. It was right at 2. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
It's not there on mine. It was okay. Okay. Well,
I see how it is, Dean.
I don't really care one way or the other. By the way, if you've already been given a game, you are no longer eligible to get another game. So send me in private chat, Nick, an email where I should send the game, and I will send you a game. Let's see. We're going to purchases, and we're going to, let's go to June. What was June like? Make my choices. I have choices remaining on my Humble Bundle. I have 3 choices remaining. Wow, I did not like many of these games. Or I owned them already. Okay. Do we have Nick? Okay, here we go. I'm copying your email. Yeah, I am recording. And I am going to send you a copy of what are you less likely to have? Okay, I'm going to give you a choice, Nick. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. You can have a racing game or a fighting, well, I don't know, an action adventure game with really great graphics. But both of them have really great graphics.
Let's go action adventure.
Okay. The game I am giving you is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Unless you already have it.
I have that game on my consoles. I love that game.
Okay. Would you rather have the racing game?
Sure.
Or would you rather have it for PC?
Actually, I'll take Senua's Sacrifice on PC.
Okay.
Now I can play it anywhere.
There you go. Gift
Awesome.
to a friend. By the way, according to Humble Bundle, everyone that I send this email to is my friend. Just so you know. You are my friend. Honestly, I could not get through this game.
Really?
It was making me very depressed, and I did not like all the hardship the main character went through.
That's very fair. It's a heavy game for sure.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? Do I really need to put myself through this? So I stopped. I got the first 3 bad guys, and then it just made me feel sick every time I played it. And well, so anyway, so I always take we're 15 minutes in, And here we are. We've given the game away. So now I can share my screen, which is assignments. Sure. Zoom, share screen. There we go. Share. Okay. Yes, I forgot to talk about PT on Thursday. We're going to do presentations today, and then hopefully there will be time, and we'll talk about PT. Then today is pitches, right? So next week for this 2:00 slot due date is the level design doc. The level design doc is I've included a template for that's wrong. Hold on a sec. I picked the wrong autosave content exists. Would you like to load autos? Sure. Okay. That's the wrong template. Sorry. It's for a different. So we will link to documents, Word documents, course documents. Come on. See, you're seeing the inner workings of what I have to deal with. Come on. What's going on? Anyway, most of the assignment is in the come on. Where the heck is it? Okay, I'm just going to pull it up in Word so I can talk about this. Word. Okay, template for level design. Okay. You're still looking at my browser, right? I have to switch. Share screen. Share this. Okay, so here's the template for the level design doc. And basically everything in green is instructions for what you should do in this level design doc. And in fact, this is all based on docs that we had to write or the level designers had to write when we were making levels at Iron Lore. So this is based on the actual template that we used. The number one thing about design docs, and I actually saw a tweet recently from a game developer, I think a writer, who basically tweeted students whose professors make them write gigantic design documents. That shit went out in 2006. Please don't write 160-page design docs that no one will read. And honestly, I think I saved that tweet somewhere or retweeted it. I don't know. Intending on sharing it with you today, and I looked for where I saved it and I couldn't find it again. But for years and years and years, probably since about 2006, I've been saying your design docs shouldn't be more than 5 pages long total. Because here's the deep dark secret of game development. No one reads anything more than 5 pages long. It's a horrible. Well, there we are. Thank you, Katie Sharonis, which now you can't see. New share. Here we go. Share. Okay. Students, I cannot stress this enough. Please stop including the 100-page monolithic design doc for a non-existent but hypothetical game in your portfolio. Real game studios haven't done these since like 2007. If your professor is having you write these, ask for your money back. Super cool things, on the other hand, a one-pager doc for a feature in a game you made, a blog post about iterations you went through, white box versus final screenshots. So note her, also, who is Katie Sharonis? She's senior game designer at Riot Games. Okay. So these are features, but for level design docs, this template is based on exactly what we went through, mostly because no, you can't have your money back. This is not I'm not assigning you a 100-page design doc. Had to do plenty of 100-page design docs for engineering. Well, engineers, oh, what's /S mean? I don't even know. Sarcasm. Oh, I get it. Okay, so the other deep dark secret of writers in or design docs like this is the company-wide email where you say, hey, here's the design doc for this thing, right? And it goes to all the relevant people. Please get back to me with feedback, right? And then crickets, because nobody reads it, right? So the deep dark secret that I started using was, please look over this design doc by Tuesday. If I don't hear anything from you by Tuesday, I will assume that you are all on board with every decision made in that design doc, right? So number one, that gets people to read it. Sometimes they don't. And then I have about a 50-50 record of, well, I said get back to me by Tuesday or you agree with it, so I guess you agree with it. And basically people who were under me in terms of seniority or power or what have you would go, oh, okay, I guess I agree with it then. And people who were above me on the org chart would go, yeah, but, and then give me their feedback at the meeting. Mostly design docs are so that we can have something in front of us to talk about in person. And to clarify your thoughts, right? Because the act of writing the design doc is going to clarify your thoughts. So I'm not gonna go through this paragraph by paragraph. Note that all the green stuff is explanation for what you should be doing in each section, and all the black stuff is examples of what is in each section. I am going to new share. I am going back to this share and going back here. something went wrong. Okay, great. Here, refer to the design doc. Let me try again. Document, course documents. Here we go. Template for quest. Template for should be not template for quest design from 2016. Okay, it looks like it didn't go up. So let me upload it again. Upload document and grab this. Template for level design doc. Copy that there. Go, go, go. Submit. Template for level design doc. Okay, so that I'm going to save that. Could someone out there please, because every time I've ever included a file, people are like, I click on it and it says I don't have access. What do I do? Could somebody click on that and tell me that it works? Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. Please, please, please make it your own. So this is what I've seen in the past is you like my examples are still in your work. And I'm like, what? Wait, you don't even know who Jared Hayes is. Why is that in something you handed in as he edited the darn thing, right? So please, please, please don't just go through it. You've got to delete my green things, right? Or maybe start a blank document, but that's hard. But delete my green things as you use them, or keep a copy nearby and work on your own document. Don't just plug your stuff in where you have stuff and leave my stuff where you don't have stuff. Okay? So for next week. And this should be a collaboration between the two of you or three of you. You'll see again here. Let's go back to the design doc. New share design doc. There we go. Share. You'll see the date. We added 3 NPCs to the necklace quest. That was me. And then Jared 11:10. No. First 11:1. Elliot added dialogue for the necklace quest. Then 9 days later, Jared added the quest logic, and I then the following January added 3 NPCs. Keep track. I guess sometimes you sit down and you do it. The very first thing that should be here is document created, right? Which you see document was created on October 1st in 2010. So this is a 10-year-old template. So there you go. Although I did a bunch of work this morning to this, so it should be a little bit different. So use the template, but don't be if there's more stuff that you need to describe your level. And also note, I don't have maps in this. I just say you need a map. So for instance, level design, your general level overview. And then here, this would where you put the maps of your level. These can be hand drawn. You can use whatever software you're most familiar with. There would be pictures in here at some point. At the very least, you need a plan, which is the 2D map of the level. If there are more than one floor to the level, then you need a plan for each floor of the level. And some sort of isometric or exploded view, so that we get a sense of the z-axis. Okay, so there should be drawings included in your design document. Okay, I'm going to stop that share. I'm taking way too long with this. Okay, so the other thing is, let's go back to assignments. And share this again. Share. New reading quiz up. I realized that I'm ahead a week by playing a semblance oversight this week. It's not due till next week. I went to make the quiz and I was like, ooh, I can ask all these questions about a semblance oversight. And it's not due to be played until next Tuesday, which is fine because I don't have time to talk about it this week. So this week it's that design document template. Chat. Yes, it was. I kind of liked it. So we'll talk about it next Tuesday. But this week's quiz is on the chapter in the architectural approach book and the level design template. So, and I will talk about PT if we have time after the presentations. Otherwise, Friday. And new tutorial, again, due Saturday at midnight. I see you guys all making crazy talk, freaking out. I love to see that you're helping each other on Discord. It's great when you help each other with your problems. Please use the Discord because there are people who are more knowledgeable about Unreal, and John is on the Discord. So make a room with a light that can be turned on or off using a switch. That seems pretty easy. In an outdoor level, make a day-night cycle. That's pretty cool. Can't wait to see them. Create a material that tiles. And we get into the material creator. You kind of dabbled in that in the 3 materials for the landscape. Now I want you to focus on making a material that you can actually use, so that if you need a material, theoretically, you could go out and like take a picture of tree bark and use that photograph to make a material, or open up Photoshop and go wild with your digital art and make a material. But it shouldn't be a solid color, the material, because trust me, I know you can make a solid color material in about a minute. It needs to be a material that tiles. I suggest bricks or cobblestones, but there basically needs to be a pattern. And the material must have a UV layer. That's the bump map. You need to figure it out. I have tutorials once again, and apply it to a cube. Then resize the cube to show that it tiles and doesn't stretch. So Just that's what I'm looking for. And then you all used water materials to make your ponds this week. Now I want you to create your own water material. It should once again have a UV layer, and it should move with waves, ripples, a current, whatever. Up to you. And make it pretty. That can be the easiest point you earn or the hardest point. So in this case, no, you can do it, Raul. In this case, this is one where when you make the video, it's not just hit play and go look at things. You're going to have to show me like resizing a cube, which you should all know how to do. You should show me take me through your original textures and your material blueprints before showing them working on a level. So you still have to press play and show me something that is that material is applied to. But before you do that, take me through the blueprint of the material. Okay? Oh, you can do it, Duncan. It'll be fine. Okay, so those are the new assignments for this week. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to grant everyone the awesome power of screen sharing. Okay, we all have this power now. Next, I am going to go to people, and I am going to go to final project pairs, and I am going to call on final project pair 1 to please present the pitch for your final project. But hold on one sec while I pull it up in Canvas so that I can hopefully give y'all grades like right now. Pitch presentation, speed grader. Okay, so to who is in and Joseph. No, that's the wrong look. Okay, and I'm going to pull it over to my other screen. Okay. If you could share your screen and or Joseph and take it away, either press play on a pre-recorded presentation or present away. Up to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay.
Right. And I'll start the time now. Okay, so the general idea of our level is that you are a detective / investigator, and you're going to investigate a disturbance that was reported by other neighbors. So we're going to be building a house and a backyard garden that was originally built ideally for a happy family, and the idea that as the family deteriorated, so did the house itself. And so now it's abandoned.
The main tab, can you hear? Okay, the main tableau of the level is going to be the shattered mirror, which indicates that a very violent conflict took place here, and the goal is for the detective to figure out like what specifically happened, other than that resulted in the mirror being shattered with the shoe. And the main vista is the balcony, and when you look down to see that it's broken, you realize that the backyard garden that a lot of houses have is just in complete ruins, and it's supposed to symbolize how typically when you stop caring about what's going on the inside, then the outside exterior doesn't look much better.
For the weenie, we're going to do the sort of couple's bedroom. So the house itself is going to be very dimly lit and dark, but then you're going to have a light flooding out of this room to draw attention to it and make the player want to go in that direction. And then once they're inside of that room, we're going to put a whole bunch of detail to sort of tell the story of what exactly happened here. And then this is the overall map. Obviously subject to change, but this is sort of the general idea of like having a bedroom, a bathroom, kitchen, dining room, and sort of the general expected path. And then behind the house is our vista of a dying garden, and you'll have sort of a defunct fountain and wilted flowers, and the player can then after that go down in there.
So we're going to try to make this look as much of a real house as possible, abandoned or otherwise. We want it to have furniture. We obviously want it to have the mirror and the wilted garden, the defunct flowers, and we basically want it to look like a real house which contains the real things that a house tends to have. And we need at least one floor, and like I said earlier, like the basic furniture that you'd expect in the house. And of course, also sufficient lighting to help set the mood of the themes of the game. It's supposed to be very dark and cold, and obviously we need the garden, and of course we want the shattered mirror, and other things that we want is just like other details, like maybe trash on floors, shoes on the floors, just everything is in complete disorder, and possibly also try to indicate footstep audio, indicate footstep audio to indicate that someone's in the house.
And if there's time, you want to add some extra polish, so maybe some extra audio for the outside to differentiate it from the soundscape of the inside. Small details like having curtains that blow from an incoming breeze, and especially having a second floor. That way there's even more space to put more details to actually tell the story of what exactly happened here. And for our pattern language, we picked some patterns that we specifically wanted to break. So we're going to be using sort of narrow corridors, and we're going to specifically be sort of not including a front terrace in order to make the house feel very unwelcoming and dark and very cut off from its surroundings. Just sort of to give into that dark and unsettling rhetoric that we're going for. And yeah,
That's it.
there's some references. And here, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Sorry, I muted my mic. Okay, give me a second. Any questions for Ann and Joe while I keep typing? Okay, so a couple of comments then, just for everybody. Remember that one weenie, one vista, one tableau is minimum, right? So you can have more than one in your level if you want, and that I just wanted to clarify that for everyone. Also, I'm sticking. I think I might add some stuff to the final project needs, which is nobody's going to be penalized, but now you guys know how to make cutscenes. Essentially, you know how to make a fly through, and you know how to do subtitles on the screen. So you have more tools to tell your story, right? You can put voiceovers, you can put triggered text, right? So in playing a semblance, I kept thinking, you know what? Everything that is in this game is doable with the tools that we have learned thus far, right? So just like getting near a certain thing that is interactable would pull up a little A subtitle that tells me I can push A near this thing and I will interact with that thing. And that's a trigger box that gives me that subtitle, right? So use the tools that you have at your disposal. And honestly, Joe and Annie, this is not in response to your presentation. This is just stuff that I've been meaning to tell y'all that I keep forgetting to talk about. Okay, so while I continue to type real quick, let's go to Final Project Pair 2. You know who you are. You know it's Jeff and Zinzin. Give me a second, though, to finish up this one.
Really quickly, I have a video for it if you want me to screen share that.
Yeah, you screen share the video, press play, rock and roll.
Got it. All right, I'll get it out.
Okay.
Whenever we're ready.
No, hold on. I'll tell you when I'm ready, and then.
All right, got it.
Okay. Okay. Going. And hopefully it went to the entire group. Joe, would you just very quickly check in Canvas and make sure that you got my comment and the grade? Otherwise, I'm going to have to take some time after this is all over and copy paste to everybody in everybody's group, which I'm willing to do. It's just a pain in the butt. So, screen share us and press the button, Jeff. Yes?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just setting up.
Okay. Is it playing? I see it. It's playing. I got no sound. Yeah, and when you
I have no clue what happened there.
no, it's when you share the screen, you pick which window you're sharing.
Well, it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. Looking at the video, it was.
Were you hearing sound?
I can hear sound.
Okay, so let me explain.
The video, it's just the problem is the video itself is yeah, exactly. It's frozen. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, I've been having technical difficulties over all of this, and I wasn't even sure if it was
okay. You try and figure that stuff out. I am going to move on to group 3 and come back to you.
So sorry about this.
I'll loop back around at the end. Okay?
All right.
Group 3, Yassine and Dylan.
Yeah. All right. I'll share my screen. Just give me a moment.
Okay, I don't think the group thing worked, so I'm going to have to if you are in a group that presents, I am giving one of you a grade, and after this class, I will copy paste to give the other person a grade, unless somebody tells me, "Oh, my partner didn't show up, and it's just me," in which case they will get a different grade.
Alrighty, can you see this?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we got no audio, Dylan.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, when you share it, this is for everyone. When you click share, there are two things down the bottom of your share box.
Yeah.
Two click
I had
boxes.
that.
One is share computer audio, and the other is optimized for video.
Darn.
Make sure both of those are clicked.
Okay. Pretty sure it's just clicked.
Okay.
This is Group 3 with Yassine and Dylan, and we are pitching the level Salamaria. So a quick overview of our level is that the player is a scavenger who overheard rumors of a once rich town that produced water with special properties, but has been abandoned after a mysterious catastrophe. Rumor has it that there are still remains of the liquid for those who dare venture into the Citadel.
Due to the town's abandonment and destruction, the player must carefully maneuver and platform through the destruction in order to reach the Citadel, and ultimately find an alternative escape route, once the initial path becomes destroyed. Once passing through a mess hall and entering the Citadel, the player obtains the liquid and must escape through the aqueduct, located at the top of the Citadel, after they obtain the water.
The town of Salamaria was built for the purpose of extracting the lake's water with special properties. It is believed to give youthful energy and increased longevity. Because of this, the town is built on a lower elevation from the lake, allowing for the residents to use an aqueduct to efficiently extract water for consumption and trade.
So the player starts in a forest path and is led by large footprints to a clearing by an empty lake. This leads to a vista and an adjacent aqueduct tower that leads to the main citadel. The player's attempt to use its elevator is blocked, as the elevator is only usable from the top. So instead, they must traverse through a gnarled path through a ruined town into the citadel. As the player ventures deeper, they will see broken ornate buildings and many public fountains that now run dry.
Once a lucrative town teeming with jovial citizens, the village shamans warned the townsfolk to not become greedy with the gift from the lake. Unfortunately, this warning was entirely ignored, and the people kept extracting the water. This caused the lake's water level to rapidly decrease, angering the nearby nature and caused massive beasts to punish the town.
So our tableau is located within one of the buildings that gets destroyed that the player needs to thread through, where a scene of skeletons crushed by debris are posed fighting over a basket with broken vials. In the scene, there are spilled baskets and broken glass scattered all throughout the floor. There may be additional tableaus depicting this relationship of the evident greed and hubris to obtain the valuable liquid, costing the towns and the people's lives.
So the player will be led by two major weenies. The first weenie will be the giant footsteps seen from the starting forest paths, clearing leading them to the vista. Second weenie will be the main citadel led by an aqueduct tower that is initially inaccessible. Citadel and aqueduct should be always seen from the outside.
So the aforementioned giant footprints will bring the player to a vista exhibiting two paths. One path is the player is able to view the emptied lake, the aqueduct's path, and the top of the citadel with a forest blocking the main town, and a savagely cleared path into the forest, headed towards the citadel's general direction. Once the player follows this path and exits the forest fully, they will be met with another vista of the destroyed town.
So the assets we plan to need are the citadel, the aqueduct, the giant footprints, the ruined mess hall, some destroyed items, and terrain for the lake and forested path. Our wants are additional smaller assets for tableaus and additional destroyed buildings to walk into, and if there's time, we would like to have multiple paths to access the citadel.
So for the pattern language, we utilize both exterior and interior. For the exterior, we wanted to have still water, which is located within the citadel, something roughly in the middle, which is the citadel itself, and the actual stairs the player needs to climb. And for the interior, we're thinking of an initial beer/mess hall the player goes through, the main building, which is the citadel, and final column distribution, which the player platforms through. And thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I realized my mic was muted, but I said, okay, great. We got it.
Right.
Cool.
Did you hear that?
Wait, not before, but now we do. Yeah.
Okay. 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 And done. Moving on. Jeff, you said you got it working? Hello? I saw in chat. Jeff figured it out. Yes, no? Jeff went away to get a drink. Okay, moving on to Project Pair 4, McKenna and Matt.
All right, I'll be sharing my screen.
Okay. And again, it looks like the whole group thing didn't work out, so I'll be typing stuff and then copy pasting later. So I'm ready when you're ready.
Hello, my name is McKenna Gamaros, and today we'll be pitching to you a Tornado Disaster Zone level. This team consists of myself and Matt Selva.
So we're going to be creating the site of a recent tornado. The player lives in a 2-story house with their bedroom on the 2nd floor, and they're awoken by a loud noise, which is the tornado just barely brushing past their house. So it's set in a residential area with many surrounding homes being destroyed by the tornado.
The tornado runs through a quiet suburban neighborhood with 2-story ranch-style homes. Think a cookie-cutter suburban America sort of neighborhood. The player lives alone in their house, and the tornado will have run directly to the right of the player's house.
In our level, the exploration will be guided by the player's curiosity, so they'll start by being awoken by the loud noise, and then they'll naturally want to investigate that noise, which will lead them to the window and balcony, where they can see the rubble outside, which will prompt them to further investigate, and then they can go outside and clearly see the path of destruction. Our primary tableau is going to be the tornado's path, which is clearly visible when you're outside, and that will show the story of the route of the tornado. Meanwhile, there are going to be small artifacts throughout the rubble that tell the story of your neighbors, such as a doll next door that reveals that they had a kid. Our vista will be one of the first things that the player can see, as it's visible right when you start the game. You can walk out onto the balcony of the player's house, and from the upper floor balcony, you can look out and see the destructions from the tornado, including an American flag that is among the rubble. That American flag is our weenie for the level, which was originally positioned on a house similar to the picture above, but the tornado moved it so it's standing tall among the rubble, and it acts as a contrast between pride and unity and destruction and despair, and is a symbol for the player to follow.
Both Matt and I are computer scientists, so we don't know much about 3D art. So we'll probably be using free assets from the Bookstore and from the Racial Justice Bundle on itch.io. We'll probably need some home furniture, some rubble and debris, and of course, an American flag. To start with, we want to have the house where the player starts in, the rubble around the area, the American flag weenie, and some eerie ambient music in the background. For stretch goals, we'd love to have a little bit of narration, some animals wandering around the rubble possibly, and maybe some cinematic storytelling such as sound effects and vibration. The player can explore their own house, as well as the 2 houses to the right of them. They can leave either from their front door or from the garden gate, and they can explore the entire area within the purple box. There will be both those houses they can explore, as well as the American flag weenie that they'll see from their balcony.
Okay. Unshare. Okay. Okay. Good. Moving on. Jeff, are you back? You said you're back.
I am indeed. I'm just gonna get out the PowerPoint presentation itself, and I'm just gonna play it through that.
Okay.
Not really much else I can do.
Okay.
I'm
Make
also
sure
gonna
to
have
check the have audio on.
Yeah,
when you
I'm also
share
gonna
it.
need to resubmit the actual project
Okay,
itself.
go ahead. That's fine. You can do that after class.
All right, let me really quickly. That screen share computer sound. Sure, there we go.
Hello everyone, today we are going to present our pitch for the final project as a cabin by the ocean, where a murder has taken place.
The idea for our project is that a murder happened in a cabin by the ocean after a fair gone wrong. The player is a child who is searching for his father and finally gets to the cabin only to discover the stuff that happened. Having the cabin in the middle of nowhere will help add to the sense of eeriness and the feeling something could happen at any time.
Our project has 3 characters, the victim, the perpetrator, and the player.
Here is the outdoor map of our project. The cabin is close to the line between the beach and the forest. The birth point of the player is further down the beach, close to a forest clearing, facing the back of the house, so that they can see a blood trail, as well as the cabin, and decide which way to go once they get there.
As is needed for the outside environment as above, we are keeping the outside very minimalistic to concentrate efforts on the carbon details and to reduce build times.
Here is the indoor map for the cabin. It is always used for a vacation, so it has basically everything a couple needs: a kitchen, a living room, a bedroom, and a restroom. However, the cabin seems to have had a fight. The props are all over the place, and the blood track starts from the living room through the broken window in the bedroom into the outside.
Here is the assets we need for the indoor environment. While it may seem like a lot, there will not be many uses of each prop. Given the small enclosed nature of our cabin, the pictures from the cabin at Rainbow Lake in Adirondack State Park, New York, a small inspiration to our cabin design.
As for the highlights, we have the cabin doubling as both a plateau and a weenie, while the beach acts as a vista towards the open sea. The cabin will be lit out on the outside to act as a guiding point, visible from almost any point on the map, while also acting as a place that holds the majority of our environmental storytelling.
We intend to shed some light on the possible motives for our perpetrator, include background music that adds to the Arab vibe, and use ambient noise like cricket chirping and small beach waves in the appropriate locations.
There are things we want to include but will not be prioritizing. We may add subtitles for the audio logs and additional props. For the diary, we may try to use a UI off of the Unreal Marketplace to implement it. Fog may be used, but only once we can get everything else working.
These are our sources. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
And that's the end of that, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to Final Project Pair 5, also known as Almost Halfway, which is Raul and Alexis. Let me get back. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Alexis is here or not. I thought we were gonna
She
present.
was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can just run through it, or I don't know if wait for her or.
You want me to circle back? I'll circle back.
Okay. Yeah. If she doesn't show up, I'll write her a text. Then I can just do the whole thing.
Okay, send her a text because it would be bad if she were not here. So moving on to faux halfway because we're missing 5. Final project pair 6, Nick and William. Let me go find Nick.
Hello.
Hello.
Stop.
Will, do you want to just play the video from your end?
Sure. The laptop I'm using right now is kind of wonky, so might get weird. If so, I'll send you the video so you can try.
Yeah, you can do that if it ends up getting weird.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. This share computer sound. Right. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
All right. And playing.
Hello, my name is Nick Parker, and I am in a group with Will White, and this is our proposal for our Unreal level. For this presentation, I'll be going over the first 5 slides, and Will will be jumping in for the last 5. Let's get started. This is a basic map of our level detailing the size and location of various points of interest, including the vista, tableaus, and a number of weenies for the player to come across. The area marked by wavy lines will be a heavily forested area, and the circle will be a large crater/clearing that the player will come across at the end of the path. Our level will begin in a foggy, forested area with many trees and plant life around the player. We plan on taking inspiration from games such as Vanishing of Ethan Carter and Alan Wake for the general ambiance and visuals. We also plan to have ambient audio present to assist with immersion, and if our rigs can run it, maybe even animated foliage. Players will follow an obvious dirt path laid before them, which will eventually take them to the game's first vista, a large clearing in the forest filled with mysterious ruins. The path will serve as the first weenie of the game, enticing players to follow it to the end. The clearing will serve as a vista for the player, who at this point has been traveling through woods with no obvious visual landmarks. The ruins will be of some large ancient structure that we plan on being fully explorable. The ruins will serve as the setting of our various tableaus as we tell the story of what the structure was and what happened that caused it to be abandoned and fall to ruin.
We plan for the clearing itself to be mostly encircled by the forest around it, and for it to look like it was cleanly carved out of the earth. We also intend to allow the player to go down and explore the clearing itself through a stairway or ramp or ladder of some sorts, with the main tableau of the level placed directly in the center. To make this level, we will need several assets, such as meshes for the trees, foliage, and the ruins. We will also need textures for all of those 3. We will need textures for the path leading to the clearing, as well as forest ambiance to accompany the player while they find their way through the forest. But most, if not all, of these assets can be found through free asset packs. When we begin making the level, we are going to prioritize the visuals and audio of the forest, clearing, and path. We are also going to work on placing various objects and structures along the player's path to develop the backstory of the level itself. If time allows, we would also plan on adding a water feature and possible additional secrets hidden in the forest. To summarize, we want our level to be a combination of a forest level and an open level, where the player will move from one into the next naturally, where the weenies, tableaus, and vistas are naturally incorporated and do not feel forced within the environment that we have placed the player in. And that concludes our presentation. We believe that the level that we have put forth is reasonable to do within the time frame of the class, and also that it is enough of an undertaking that it will result in something that we can both be proud of.
Okay.
Stop share. Yep, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to Courtney and Sarah.
All right.
Hold on,
Oh,
let me
geez.
find one of you. There you are. Okay.
Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
You can hear the audio because I just got a notification from Zoom about something weird happening.
Okay, well.
Hello, we are Team Bubblegum, and we
have
will be
audio.
presenting a trip to the witch for more than just tea. Our proposed level involves the player to seek out a witch to solve a pollution and famine problem. The level will intend to get this message across. Fresh perspective can make solving your problems much easier.
The player's goal for the game is to find a way to fix the pollution and famine that's plaguing their village. The player has lived in the village their whole lives, and they care deeply for the well-being of the people there and the health of the village as a whole.
All of the townsfolk who have abandoned the town have severely neglected the water source. The player must fix this, or they'll have to abandon the old farming town as well. When the player comes into the game, they'll be situated in their house, and there will be a journal entry that the player can read quickly about the history of the town. We have two plans to get to the witch. One path that involves a parkour experience and the other that involves sneaking. The witch's cottage will be enterable, although the witch will not be there. The only thing that can be found is a recently boiled cup of tea sitting on the table. If the player turns around and exits, they'll see the vista from the witch's house that helps them solve the water problem. Outside of the first house you come out of, if the player turns left, they will see a fence and beyond that, a dilapidated garden with a thrown-down pitchfork and an open bag of seeds. If they walk beyond the garden, they will see the first vista, which is described on the next slide.
The first vista of the game shows the problem the player has to fix. The vista shows dirty, polluted water that is running into the town's crops, which is killing them and preventing new growth. The second vista is seen later in the game from the witch house located on a mountain. From that vantage point, the player looks into the vista and sees what is causing the dirty and polluted water. The most important and prominent weenie for the game is the witch's house, which is located on a mountain, making it visible throughout the game. Another weenie is a huge empty garden plot owned by the town. This garden plot highlights the famine and pollution. Other weenies scattered throughout the game are signs that show paths to the witch's house. Our planned asset packs are Temperate Vegetation Foliage Collection, Temperate Vegetation Wild Berries, Mediterranean Vegetation Giant Reed, Advanced Village Pack, Temperate Vegetation Spruce Forest, Forest Landscape Materials Volume 2, and Water Materials.
At the very least, we will need one path to the witch. If we discover that the sneaking mechanic is unfeasible in the time provided, we will be using the parkour path only. Then we can focus all of our efforts on making sure that single path is brilliant.
In conclusion, our goal is to create a game that inspires the player and takes them from a struggling town through an adventure to find a magical witch. Team Bubblegum hopes a trip to the witch for more than just tea will highlight the different landscapes while also providing a fun experience for the player.
Okay. Okay. Okay, great. Moving on. Final project pair 8. Dan and Ben. I just also want to say that one of the reasons why I want you to do these for each other was so that you can get a sense of what everybody else is doing, because eventually you're going to be playing these, right? You are our testers. Okay, Ben, Dan.
All right. So this is our final project pitch. I'm Dan Enriquez.
And I am Ben Martin.
So our level is going to be a ruined medieval tower. It's going to be situated in a forested valley in the shadow of a large mountain, which is where the player is going to start. They're going to start on the mountain looking over the valley and see the tower off in the distance.
All right, so for what to do and where to go, the player is going to kind of emerge, kind of immediately seeing this tower, and they're hopefully going to be inspired to kind of take the path down the hill and kind of through the forest. And in the forest itself, there's going to be several various different branching paths, each one with a tableau of its own.
So the area background is that this was left over from a bygone age as a tower kind of in ruins. The tower was a seat of power in a previous civilization, and nowadays people worship the remnants of this civilization. After years of battles, there's going to be objects scattered all around the battlefield and stuff like that.
And so the current state of it is now it's completely overgrown. It's been the previous civilization that was here has been wiped out for whatever reason, and the remnants, which are probably a group of previous inhabitants and people that they were kind of lording over here, have kind of turned them into war gods and are worshiping them now.
So our different tableaus are going to include, as we said, different remnants from this previous civilization. So old swords and skeletons scattered around as remnants of battles, an old shrine, and a burial site for the nobles of this old society.
And so we're going to have two planned vistas. One is going to be the initial vista where you're looking out over the valley and see the tower in the distance. And then the next is going to be when you finally reach the tower and ascend it, you look out and see the path that you just came from and see the kind of mountain in the distance.
So our weenies are going to be the tower. Obviously, is the big one. It's going to be kind of lording over this whole mountain to demonstrate the power of this old civilization. And another is going to be the shrines in the forest that kind of will draw the player in.
And so assets needed, we're going to be using the starter content, free Infinity Blade content packs. Probably hopefully going to get some skeletons in various different positions, maybe alter and customize some of our own materials for like blood splatters and stuff like that if we need to. Shrine, altar models and meshes, and maybe a tower model if we are not able to accurately depict it with geometry.
So our largest priority is, of course, the tower itself, because that's where most of the storytelling is going to take place inside. And then obviously the forest and landscape comes after that with the tableaus following suit to kind of tie it all together. And then after that, some more additional detailing and lighting will follow.
And then this is just our bibliography of photos that we used. And that's it.
Okay. Moving on to Final Project Pair 9, Isa and Joe.
Yes.
Or Henry.
Yes.
Let
Right.
me hold on. Let me get to the S's.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
All right. Is it visible?
Yes.
All right. There won't be audio for the first couple seconds, but that's fine. Our level will be a magical realist vignette about a vanished author's biggest fan investigating their disappearance and final unpublished novel by exploring a library based around their life and family. They begin in a bookstore that has received a special collection of the author's work, and upon examining the copy of the final novel, they mysteriously find themselves inside a library representing the author's life.
The bookstore is a decades-old shop located in the author's hometown. The library the player is transported to is meant to be a private world for the author where he could write in peace. He designed one area for each family member, but the separation pushed the family apart. He finally created a vacation realm inside the illustration of an oversized book for the entire family to live in.
The bookstore has been a long-standing fixture of the town and is reputable enough to earn the author's collection. At the time of the story, the library has been unused for a while and fallen into some disarray. The main area houses the author's book collection and the sealed room they used to write in. The spouse's wing has been taken over by their plants, and the wing built for their only child still has toys left out.
The player can explore the abandoned library and interact with certain items. The protagonist wants to open the oversized book in the library's main chamber, but they'll need 2 keys to unlock it. These keys are found in the child's and spouse's area. Once the book is opened, the player can enter the vacation area through an oversized illustration. There they have the choice to pursue the author further or leave him and his family at peace.
The bookstore is a small space with wooden shelves and floor, prominent street windows, a counter and register, a locked back room, and the author's collection on display. The main library hall is long, tall, and rectangular with a massive copy of their final book as a weenie. It's made of dark wood, lit with lamps and clerestory windows, lined with countless books, and features a librarian desk, sealed office, and restroom.
The spouse's library wing consists of stone, glass, and vegetation. The spouse was initially glad to have a private, child-free space, but the lonelier she felt, the more she lost herself in gardening, until the garden subsumed the library space. At the garden's center, there's a statue of the couple, but the spouse's side is covered in vines. This area's weenie is a huge tree bursting through the roof.
The children's wing was designed for the author's kid and is appropriately colorful and whimsical, but feels especially lonely in its abandoned state. It even features a built-in play structure topped with a slide, which serves as a weenie and a shortcut out. Throughout the area, there are several tableaus formed of toys the child arranged to represent their family, giving insight into their strained relations.
After realizing his work was literally pushing his family away, the author created a special vacation space for the whole family. The first vacation island is reached by entering the oversized book's illustration. The second island is a weenie across the water. The player can choose to use a boat to follow the author, or step back out of the book and close it. Either choice ends the game.
By using a bookstore and library as our main settings, we get lots of mileage from simple assets like books and shelves. The main library also needs locks and keys, the wings need plants, toys, and a slide, and all rooms need furniture in appropriate textures. The vacation island also needs unique materials, plants, and a boat. And of course, the game needs ambient audio and interaction sounds.
Constructing the 5 essential areas, the bookstore, the library, the child and spouse's wings, and the vacation area, are our main priorities. These spaces need to be textured, populated with props, and filled with ambient sounds, but detail, variety, and quantity can vary based on priority. Music is low priority. If we are short on time, the entire bookstore segment can be a cutscene.
Yes, that is our presentation.
Are the Discord sounds from? Is that from me?
Yes.
That could be from me.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not part of the recording, that's for sure.
Okay, just.
I didn't think to go on Do Not Disturb. I didn't process those were coming through there. Sorry.
No, I don't know. It happens.
Those are definitely not on the recording, though.
I just need to mute. I don't know what was.
Well, I assumed that was coming from me too, because I was trying to.
Yeah, they weren't popping up. There was no discussion going on. I just don't want to screw up somebody else's presentation with Discord. I mean, it's not screwed up. It's just annoying. Okay. Okay. Bam. Okay, and getting back to Final Project Pair 10, Jimmy and Matt.
I got it.
All right. Yeah.
Flynn.
Okay. Everybody can see this, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Our level project, Starshine, will allow the player to take up the role of a princess returning to her kingdom to take the throne, until she realizes that everyone has mysteriously vanished. It is your job to find out why by investigating the palace and the surrounding area.
The kingdom was built in the mountains because of the rumored gold that was in it. Where the kingdom was built made it hard to conquer, as there were only one path to reach it, a single bridge. Many groups tried to overtake the kingdom, but every group failed, their defeats leaving their own mark on the mountains.
After the player defied the king's wishes to explore the world, the inhabitants of the kingdom disappeared without a trace due to a curse associated with royalty leaving their own kingdom. As the kingdom fell silent, word got out of these events, and the palace was looted and ransacked.
This is just a quick sketch of a throne room. The final will have more details, but through the environment, you'll be able to see bits of gold left behind, chairs destroyed and knocked over, everyday items broken or left in odd spots to try to convey how the place was abandoned suddenly and plundered in the player's absence.
At the end of the initial mountain path, the player will see the castle in the distance, looming over the rest of the kingdom. The expanse of the bridge and the height of the castle spire will help instill a sense of awe into the player. In addition, the player will see houses in the distance.
The main weenie of our level will be the spire in the middle of the kingdom that the player will be able to explore parts of. The tower will be one of the first things the player sees as they make their way through the level, seemingly growing in size as the player makes their way closer to the kingdom.
As you can see in this layout mock-up, the player enters first into a lobby of sorts. Miniature tableaus will populate the space as indicated by the small question mark icons as the player progresses into the throne room, the first location where plot advancement occurs, as well as the first major tableau.
So a source of our inspiration for the theme and tone was the Dreaming City in Destiny 2. We liked the idea of being able to cross a bridge towards a large tower and wanted to try to capture a similar feeling but in a mountain range setting. We also liked the post-processing effects there and wanted to be able to create our own to create a sense of mystery in the player.
For our assets, we will primarily need structural components that will work for both the interior and exterior of a castle. We would also need some spaces or pieces for the bridge, as well as some minor props such as coins, clothes, kitchenware, and objects for constructing tableaus.
We want to be able to have two mountains that are connected by a bridge, as well as have the palace and surrounding village be a part of the core level. It would be nice to add towns and farms to be visible from the bridge down below, as well as some possible NPCs. And if there's time, post-processing to add effects to areas.
Okay. Moving on, because I'm going to get through all these. Duncan and Javier.
Hello.
Hello.
Apologies if my mic is complete garbage. Right, so I've got the video here. Let me out this. That. And, oh, there it goes. It looks like you're muted. I don't know if you're playing your audio.
Yeah, you didn't check. Stop the share and reshare it, and make sure you check share computer audio. It's a checkbox in the little box when you share it.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Javier Marcos. Hello and welcome. This is a pitch for a level made in Unreal Engine. It will be made by Duncan Baccherdi and myself, Javier Marcos. And the level's name, at least for now, is Hunt. As you can probably imagine, the level takes place in a hunter's lodge, which is settled next to a waterfall. The player assumes the role of an emergency responder making his way through a hiking trail to reach the lodge, where a couple of hunters need help after they were attacked by a bear.
The player will spend most of their journey on the hiking path, traveling up the mountain to the lodge that they saw in a weenie from the start. This trail traverses the forest and links the two main elevation levels. At the end of the trail, the player reaches the main area, which contains the lodge, the stream in between the two tiers of the waterfall, a fire pit, and the vista, which overlooks the waterfall, the lower stream, and the path that the player just hiked.
The main area, with the lodge and the waterfall, will have a bunch of elements scattered around that kind of show the story of how this struggle between the hunter and the bear went down. Bear tracks, scratches, shotgun shells around the floor, blood, and more.
The most important things for this scene are the lodge, the waterfall, the hiking path, and the natural forest environment. The bear and the hunters are also needed, as are the various tableau features dispersed throughout the level. The wants are to add more details and depth to the basic storied environment. Things like the picnic tables, the campfire, and the ability to reach the mountaintop to see the waterfall's origin point fall here and make the area feel more lived in. If there's more time after that, we'd like to allow the whole mountain to be traversable on all sides instead of just the main scene. More interesting details or areas could also be added, such as a campsite outside of the lodge, or the ambulance the player arrives in.
We're going to have to scavenge the internet for a bunch of models to be able to build this. Mostly plants and the trees, but we're also going to need a few structures like the bridge or the lodge itself, and maybe a few models for the hunters themselves and some animals. Finally, here are a few more pictures of the kind of environment that we're envisioning. You're basically in a forest in the middle of nowhere with just a few hiking trails leading the way. That's going to be everything. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.
Okay.
Yeah, the audio cut off a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I know that like the audio clips that I made were not necessarily all 20 seconds. I got out the important information at fair speed. So like, I think the first audio clip that had me speaking was only like 11 or 12 seconds. So there was just a large gap because of the 20-second setting on the PowerPoint.
I seem to I seem to get the gist of it, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
And final project pair 12, Owen, Aiden, and Jonathan.
Okay. Share screen. Share computer sound. Gonna do an audio test. Hello and welcome.
Yeah.
That went through? Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Hello and welcome. This is our final level pitch presentation. Our team consists of Aiden Sensiba, Owen Aguirre, and Jonathan Shirey, and our final level pitch is going to be an in-depth creation of the Giant's house from the story Jack and the Beanstalk, and how it will translate into a story-based level. The level will use the general story of Jack and the Beanstalk, most specifically the time period after Jack climbs the beanstalk, for its location to both show the ending of the story, as well as tell the origins of the giant's house, why he lives up there, what the giant does there, and what kind of things have happened to other characters before Jack arrived to the location.
Some major events in our game. Here, you play as Jack, who climbs up the beanstalk to retrieve his golden goose from the giant's lair. You walk around the house, and you can look through the window to see the goose laying next to the giant sleeping in his bed. You go inside the house, walk in the giant's room, and steal the goose. You leave the house with the goose, run to the beanstalk, and escape. This is a basic mapping of the story. You start at the beanstalk, you walk around the house, and you can look through the window here to see the giant sleeping inside next to the prize, the golden goose or the golden harp. You can walk into the giant's bedroom and steal the prize. Then you can go back out, try and escape from the giant, and go to the beanstalk and escape.
The main vista outside of the house that we would focus on would be the view from the top of the beanstalk, where you'd be able to see the expansive sky as well as the giant's house. It would look small from a distance, but once you go up to it, it would look very large. We'd also create a vista in the sense of viewing the giant's bedroom from a high-up window or a high-up hole in the wall.
As an example of some we needs in our level, when you go around the house, you'll see the treasures through the windows. And whenever you're outside the house, you'll probably see the giant green beanstalk poke out through the clouds. And this should contrast nicely with the sky.
Some tableaus that we're going to use for the level would be things like skeletons and various crashed aircrafts. We would use these in order to tell the story of the giant's hatred toward humans and the reason why he separated himself from the world below, as well as showing like the tragic fate of any adventures that had happened upon the giant's house before you.
Some info about the giant. He's sleeping in the bed at first, snoring, and when you're leaving the house, you can hear him saying fee fi fo fum and stomping angrily after you. And we plan to accomplish this with positional audio cues and location triggers that play each voice clip when you get to a certain part of the level.
We have a few assets we would like to have. Clouds, beanstalk, golden harp, and the treasures, and some sound files for the giant and the harp music. For the giant's house, we were thinking it could be something like Kagan's house in terms of architecture.
Our main needs would be the basic architecture, furnishing for the house, and all the outside things needed to tell the giant's story. While things in our wants, and if there's times lists, are more additions to the house and extra buildings to further enhance the believability of the location. And with that, that's our presentation. Thank you for watching.
Okay. Looping back around to Raul and Alexis. How we doing?
I think it's gonna be just me, so I'll just run through it.
Okay.
Just 1 second. I'm playing on the presentation now. And can you guys see the presentation okay?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so my name is Hilarious, and with my partner Alexis, we're going to be building a level in Unreal Engine. So the level is essentially going to be a futuristic museum inspired by the cloisters in New York City. But rather than being a medieval museum out of place in New York, this is a museum in the 25th century talking about Earth history in the 21st century. The museum is still a museum, but the player's been trapped inside the museum, kind of like in the museum without all the attractions coming to life. So the player's locked in and they have to explore and try to find a way out of the museum. So a lot of the design is going to be inspired by both present designs for museums and conventions that we see in those around the world, and these proposed futuristic ideas of what museums are going to look like in the future. So how displays are going to change, how they're going to be more interactable, and how they're going to present information differently. So the things that we're going to need are going to be contemporary, quote unquote, science fiction buildings, doors, and consoles to really sell that this is a futuristic building talking about the present. Historical artifacts, which would be more contemporary, which would be more modern day objects that would serve as the objects on display. And then landscape effects to show that this is supposed to be like an alien planet where this museum's been built and is kind of telling a shoddy version of our present day history. So the main weenie is going to be the curator's tower, because part of the museum is that it's going to be mostly open air. So this curator's tower is the weenie, and it gives the player an idea of where to go and how to try to find a way out of the museum. The tableau is going to be different exhibits. The ones we're thinking about including as our priority are exhibits on food or mobile homes. And the vista is, since the curator's tower is going to be accessible, we intend for it to serve as where the player can go up and get a vista of not just the entire museum, but also the surrounding futuristic colony city. So this is a sketch I made of the first of what the layout would look like from above. And the idea is we're going to recreate at least all the buildings and the courtyard in the middle, connecting them, with the curator's tower being cut off. It's building number 6 here. And that'll be the tallest building around, and it'll look like part of the skyline of the rest of the futuristic city. This is more or less what we have in mind for an exhibit. It would have like contemporary items from nowadays, albeit far more degraded, and it would have somewhat erroneous names and take you through like a modern day museum exhibit. And these are just some of the inspirations that we're pulling from. So real world automobile exhibits or planned exhibits on old / contemporary biking and other modes of transportation. So our priorities are, we absolutely need the curator's tower and the surrounding vista of the cityscape. We need at least one museum exhibit, which we're thinking about making the mobile homes exhibit, and the courtyard connecting and making up most of the museum. So other things that we want are some of the other exhibits that we've talked about. A food court / mess hall, which will also have stuff like the bathrooms and stuff. And just extra detail in the courtyard, like benches, some natural flora, etc. And if we have time, we want to add like a maintenance shack or a maintenance building where all the museum maintenance would take place. A perimeter wall kind of surrounding the museum or adding more detail to that wall. And then just kind of minor details on the cityscape in the vista. And yeah, a lot of the assets, we're finding a lot of useful assets in the Unreal store. So I think that we'll at least hit the needs very comfortably, and hopefully we'll be able to move on to those wants very confidently. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. 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 So, let me just give general reactions for everybody again. I'm kind of so one of the things that happens every year is because of, or every other year when I teach this, is because I hit Ethan Carter first for vistas, and don't get to tableaus quite as much until after this actual pitch. We get a lot of really big areas like Ethan Carter, and I kind of wish, well, you presumably watched the PT playthrough, which is a very confined space, but has a lot of gameplay in it, right? And again, a semblance. The major reason why I want you guys to play a semblance is because it's made entirely in Unreal, and you can see what's possible. And I was very happy that it's essentially the design of this Assemblance 2, which I hadn't played, is essentially the same as the design of Assemblance 1, which is very small areas, right? So there's the machine room, the hyper or holodeck room. There's the lab. There's the installation, and there's the little plateau with the birds, right? And then we have little glimpses of other things. Alexa has just started talking for no reason. I have no idea. She's listing every bird you can list. Okay, it's over. So, so even the outdoor areas in Assemblance, and I realize you haven't played it yet, but are small. So they've got these small areas that give a sense of being outside, but they're still small, right? So one of the things that happens every year is people make these gigantic outdoor areas like Ethan Carter, but they certainly don't have the time of the Ethan Carter develop the devs to make it as detailed as well. You don't have the time to make a detailed outdoor area like Ethan Carter. So what happens is we get these kind of well, like the tutorial outdoor areas you made, they're okay. They're not, they're okay for tutorials. They're fine. They're not, I mean, go walk around Ethan Carter. It feels like the outdoors. And the levels you made for the tutorials feel like game areas that suggest the outdoors, right? So I warn you all, make smaller outdoor areas that you can decorate well, rather than a very large outdoor area that you will decorate poorly. There are, and I realize that by asking for a vista, it suggests a very large area. So I could see something very far away that I then travel to, like in Zelda. But if you look at Assemblance, there are any number of vistas by using sky domes rather than gigantic outdoor areas. So with 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, how do we like PT, or how'd you like hearing me scream during PT? I saw Isa had thrown his lunch. Is that because a scary thing happened and you went, "Wah!" and it went flying? Ah, okay.
Every day I'm still furious at Konami for canceling it.
Yeah.
It would have been the coolest.
The one and only jump scare is the lady kills me, right? Uh-huh. Okay. So I mean, I talk about PT during the playthrough. Some things that have happened, like you can still play PT, you can download any number of people have remade PT in Unreal, so you can actually play it. Just search around, you can find it. McKenna put it on 2x speed and seemed to make things a little less scary. Ambient music isn't as unsettling. I was so ready to nope out at any point, though. Yeah, part of it is it's a horror game, but the reason why I wanted you to watch it is you get an entire game out of a hallway and 2 rooms.
Hallway and 2 rooms.
And that first room is like the cement room that you only see every once in a while. And then this second room, there's the cutscene at the end when you finally get the baby laughs. And I guess the bathroom is a room, right? So it's not the hallway. So there's the initial where you wake up and whenever you die, you wake up there room. There's the hallway. There's the bathroom that is open sometimes and sometimes not. And then there's that final little room that is before the repeat, right? So you go like down the stairs and there's that little room. So by limiting the scope, but then using and reusing and basically redecorating that hallway over and over and over, either putting lighting effects or putting new things in it, new deco, the eyeballs, or changing the pictures around, or having a dangling bloody refrigerator, or sometimes like the lady is up in the balcony in the entrance hall, I think. I seem to recall that. Or there were times when she would be staring in at you from outside the window, I think, which was also very scary. So people have hacked PT at this point, and apparently the model of the ghost lady, it follows you through the entire thing. And most of the time she's always behind you, and she swings behind you when you turn around. But if you catch her, that's when she kills you. So I saw a video of like they had moved the camera outside of the first person TwitterCom, Man Fight Dragon. He's okay, yes. Okay, so I will share this because this is cool. And then we'll talk more. Share Twitter here and optimize share. Let's turn it up a little bit. Can you see that? Okay, so this is our favorite corridor. Is this going to show it? Come on.
It does.
Yeah, okay.
He has to lock the camera. Yeah, and then he walks forward.
Okay. So he locks the camera, and then there's the lady following you. You can see where you are by the flashlight light. And that is freaky, don't you think? It's even scarier that she's always following you. Yeah. So I really think, well, number one, I'm sorry I can't just say, hey, go play this. But then again, those of you who, like, I don't want to give anybody lack of sleep or bad dreams. Right. That's not scary at all. No, not at all. So I realize that some people have different tolerances for scary stuff than others. And I figure by having me play it and, it's at least one thing removed. Right. So you're fine, Matt and Raul. That's great. This is all about for you, but there are other people who are like, nope, ain't gonna do that. So, and I don't want to turn anyone off, because mostly what I want you to do is look at how they used a single corridor over and over and over again, and kept it fresh and kept it new. And I want you all to realize that the duplicate function is your friend, right? I want you to, the same thing happens in Assemblance, is we go to the same places over and over and over again, but we change the state of the place. But that means that 90% of your Unreal level can stay exactly the same, and you can change just a few things, and those changes, your player base will lock onto them and be like, oh my God, look, that thing moved. Well, how'd that happen? Right? So yes, PT is all about environmental storytelling. And yes, it's a big thing in horror games. I don't think of Assemblance as quite a horror game. It's spooky and weird and freaky, but not exactly horror. Alien Isolation, I honestly haven't played, because there are too many games and not enough time. I'm also told it's maybe a little bit too long for what it is, but that's what the review said. But if you go back and look at if you look at the BioShocks, if you look at the System Shocks, it's all about, here's a place where bad things happen, and now you're walking through the aftermath, right? So anyway, think about that. Your pitches are not set in stone. Think about using smaller. So my feeling is smaller spaces mean more attention to detail. And smaller spaces used over and over again, think about how you can use the same places more than once, right? You can change a state and it becomes new and interesting. Bam, jump scare. Okay. So I am way over time. Thanks again. I will post this. And I have apparently 12 of 26 are graded, which means I have to copy paste all the grades on all these pitches to all the people who didn't get grades. So if you didn't get a grade, it's because I haven't checked back later tonight, and I will post, and I will be copy and pasting. Okay.